Hey guys, so when I talked about the Cowabunga collection initially, I believe I talked about the fact, or I mentioned in there, the fact that you could probably play the game not just with a regular controller, depending on the system you have, like this. But you can also play it potentially with a fight stick, of some kind, like this one. This is the PXN fight stick, I believe. I think that's what it's called for the full name. Yeah, the PSN arcade fight stick. Yeah. So I connected this last night. Now, before I explain to you basically, if it works. Just a little recap in case you guys don't know about the PXN fight stick or arcade fight stick or any of the PXN sticks period, or any joystick like this period. What you need to do is you need to have a cable, which I do, connected to here. Basically, you need a cable like this connected to the back, and then take this part right here that I'm pointing at with my finger, this part, and connect it to the back of your controller, and then sync them up. And the sync up shouldn't take that long. It should just take a few seconds, hopefully, without an issue. Now, what that will do then is it'll turn your joystick, your fight stick, into an optional controller, secondary controller, so you can actually like navigate the menu and stuff, with the fight stick. Although the button layout is a little bit different, but you can change those up a little bit. You can map them out a little bit to your desire, I think, or whatever you feel comfortable with. But for me, I have the PS4 version of Cowabunga Collection. Now, the reason I bring that up is with the controller, obviously, you use the analog sticks or the D-pad, and for the main movements for some of the game, you use the pink square and the blue X. You use the pink square. You use the square button, the pink square button, or the blue X button. Those are the ones you use. Now, when it comes to using something like the fight stick, if it's got a layout very similar, or in a sense, it's got a layout very similar, then you go with the buttons that represent the controllers. Now, it all depends on the game you're playing. In this case, the Cowabunga Collection. So, if you're playing, let's say, the arcade version of TMNT, the '89 version, or even the arcade version of Turtles in Time, then this button here, the pink button, represents the square button on your PS4, and then the blue one, of course, represents the blue X. Now, if you're, of course, playing it on the Xbox system, and it's going to be different. It's going to be X and A represented by the buttons. But in this case, for me, it's the PS4, so it's the pink for the pink square and the blue for the blue X. Now, that might seem a little strange, to some people to, play the game and be like, here's jump, like the blue button's going to be jump. Even on a regular PS4 controller, it's going to be blue or A. On a PS4, Xbox, or even a Nintendo Switch controller, or even a Steam Deck controller, it's going to be A or X, depending on your controller. And then the attack button will be basically the square or the X button, depending, like I said, on your system. The joystick will be, of course, for movements, and of course with the PXN you have the option of going freelance, basically analog or D-pad. So you can go D-pad or you can go analog, basically, like that. But anyway, that's basically how it operates with the system and everything. Just to let you know, also, there are a few buttons here that will kind of be a little weird. For example, this one here, the R1, RB button will bring up the menu, basically like if you want to save and all that. The red is of course your back. This one I think is your rewind button right here. This is your rewind button right here. And I think one of these other ones do something too. I'm not really sure. Can't remember. But as long as you kind of avoid these a little bit, you know, these here, you know, you shouldn't have a problem. You know, unless you want to like save the game and then you go to here, then you select save and then you go back like that. But your primary buttons on here will be pink and blue on the joystick, or whatever kind of joystick, fight stick you have. It'll primarily be the X and it'll primarily be for the PlayStation players, the square pink and the X blue buttons on the controller as well as on the fight stick. But like I said, for Switch, Xbox, and even Steam, it's going to be X and A, which is just pink and blue, or whatever that's represented by. Now, like I said, you can map this out as, you know, to your specifications, to your easy for me to say. You can, but what I'm trying to say is you can map it out. Let me get some coffee. You can map it out to your specifications. So instead of just being like, okay, this is, you know, attack and this is jump, you can get it to where you can go, okay, here's attack, here's jump, or here's attack, here's jump, or whatever the case may be, whatever your preference is. But if you just don't want to bother with that and you want to go with default, you go with that. And it takes time. It takes a bit of time, but as you continue playing, you kind of get more adjusted to it. It's like, you know, when you're playing it, it's like, okay, here's attack, you know, here's jump, you know, you get adjusted to it over time. But yeah, you can basically play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga Collection, the arcade games that are on there with this, as well as you can also probably play the console games as well, especially if they're identical, like Turtles in Time and Hyperstone Heist on the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. You could probably play it with this as well. You can also probably play the NES Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game with this, as well as the arcade version that they brought out for the NES with this. You could probably also do Tournament Fighters as well. It's pretty much, I'm assuming it's pretty much the same layout, you know, button-wise, you know, attack button-wise and all that. So you can do all that with, so what I'm trying to say is, you could definitely play the Cowabunga Collection with a fight stick, with a joystick, fight stick, whichever kind you have. You just got to remember that just in case, you know, just in case it's like your first time using or even trying it out, you got to remember that basically, you know, your main buttons are going to be, you know, top and bottom. You know, right then and there. It's going to be, you know, the pink. It's going to be the pink XA. Not pink XA, but it's going to be the pink X square, and it's going to be the blue XA. Is what it's going to be. Like I said, depending on the console that you're using. Another suggestion as well is if you're playing the arcade games, you could, like I said, you can try the D mode, not D mode, but the D-pad mode, the directional pad mode with the stick, and it kind of helps. But if you go with just the analog, just like a regular joystick that you would find in playing an actual arcade game, it feels more natural because, again, with the arcade versions of TMNT 89 and the Turtles Forever, that's how they were primarily meant to be played, you know, when they were in the arcade. But yeah, your buttons, basically your primary buttons, will be the attack button will be the pink square X button, and then the jump button will be the X A button, and then on the side, like I said, you want to try to avoid these in case, you know, just in case, unless you map them out, you want to avoid these. This is your bring up menu button, as you know, as well as your save button, you know, to like save the game, and then this is your back button, and then down here is your rewind button. But the primary ones are going to be, like I said, the pink square X and the blue XA buttons on the stick. when you play it with the game. But basically, long story short, and I know I'm sounding like I'm rambling and maybe not making much sense. It's still kind of early. I'm still kind of waking up a little bit. But the point that I'm getting at is it can be done. It can be done. It can be used to play the game to the best of your abilities. You can use it, and like I said, you can map it out. You can map out the controls to be more comfortable for you. But yeah, it is possible. It is definitely legit and possible. You've probably seen it already here on the screen since I began this video, that a lot of the footage you're seeing right now I recorded courtesy of my PS4, of course, because it has the video, the save video option. But also I played a lot of these with this, and it took some time getting used to again, but over time, I started to get the hang of it and get, used to like where the button layout is and everything when it came to the games. But like I said, it's your preference. You want to change it up to where it's a little bit more easier for you, that's fine too. But long story short, yes, if you have a fight stick of any kind, you can play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection with the fight stick as if you're playing it in the actual arcade. And I think it's the same, not just for the 2 arcade games included, but for all the games that are on there as well. But anyway though, guys, I just wanted to do this little video for you to kind of give you my thoughts on whether or not it's possible, which it is. Again, it just takes time to kind of get used to, maybe not too much time. And of course you can lay out the buttons depending on your preference and all that, or you can just stay with the default. But let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below, live chat during the premiere. Let me know if this information was useful to you, helpful if you will, when it came to buying a game like the Cowabunga collection, or even let's say the Capcom fighting games collection. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Super chat, super stickers are open, and super thanks afterwards as well. You can also help donate to me and the channel as quickly as soon as possible through Venmo at Brian-Walmer-2 and at Cash App at BWRoses98. You can also help support me by purchasing items at the Teespring store, as well as you can listen to my audio versions of some of my podcasts. Like I do have one coming up on the 29th version. What I'm trying to say is I have an audio version of the video I did on the 29th anniversary of Sonic Sat AM. That will be going up soon. So yeah, check it all out, guys. It'll really help me out. Also, like I said, like the video. The more likes, the more I get recommended. But until next time, guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Again, let me know if this was helpful to you. And until then, I am out.